wars in Afghanistan and Iraq dominated President Bush's agenda. He pursued several reforms on the domestic front throughout his 2 terms. Those reforms targeted education, healthcare, emergency response, and the economy.
Bush promised education overhaul such as higher standards for public schools and help for underperforming poor and minority students. In January 2002, Bush signed into law the No Child Left Behind Act, NCLB. No.
A second NCLB provision is that school administrators have more leeway for spending federal grant money. For example, they can redirect funds to hire new teachers, give teacher pay raises, and provide them with professional development.
And go.
NCLB requires state and school districts to inform parents about student achievement and overall school performance.
Critics of NCLB file several flaws and potential abuses. Funding for NCLB is also an issue, although
President Bush sought to make health care accessible and more affordable for millions of Americans. His most noteworthy effort was the Medicare Prescription Drug Improvement and Modernization Act.
And go.
This act expanded Medicare benefits to include prescription drug coverage and established Medicare Part D. Medicare recipients can enroll in Medicare Part D. This enrollment enables them to buy prescription drugs at a discount.
Both education and healthcare were on President Bush's agenda for the time he took office in January 2001. Hurricane Katrina caused catastrophic damage in several Gulf states. Particularly in southeast Louisiana, just over 1,000 New Orleans residents were killed during and after the storm. Survivors went without food, water, and shelter for days, and looting and violence were rampant. Images of the devastation and suffering angered Americans and promoted criticism of the local, state, and federal governments. Accusations range from lack of leadership to racism.
There are natural disasters like Hurricane Katrina, and then there are man-made disasters like the financial meltdown of 2008. Years of low interest rates and the insurance of subprime mortgages sparked a real estate boom.
Banks stopped lending money to each other and to individuals. Without access to loans, businesses were forced to cut back or postpone growth.
After the collapse of high-profile companies such as Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, the federal government demanded other large financial entities were too big to fail.
In October 2008, after much negotiation, debate, and revision, Congress passed the President Bush signed Public Law 110-343.
Set up a $700 billion fund called the Troubled Asset Relief Program.
Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? George W. Bush.
See, in my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda. George W. Bush, May 24, 2005.